when things fell out, I had to walk away, and it felt like a very big part of my life where I feel like I failed, and I failed myself.
702.
The upside of failure.
Upside of failure. We are chatting to somebody who has captured hearts and famous faces, and has done just some fantastic, amazing work, not just for the photography game, but also for the culture. And he's not just a celebrated photographer, he also is a creative entrepreneur, and somebody that I'm so excited to have in studio, Mr. Austin Malema. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. What
Every
an intro.
week I'm like, you came. I'm always
Your
like,
guests
you
disappoint
came.
you, eh?
No, not even. I think sometimes there's still that part of me which is like, do you think they want to come? Do you think, like, it's a weird thing, but I'll always be like, you came. It's like when you host a party, like, is anybody going to come?
Yeah.
So it sometimes feels like that. Firstly, I have to start by giving you your flowers and say, like, I just love the work that you've done. Not just the parts of what you've done for the game, but you've empowered so many young people that have trained under you, whose work is out there. And I think you've kind of set a standard of sorts when it comes to what good photographs need to be used for. It's not just, oh, well, there's a studio and it's pure images.
Yeah.
It's now like that is the day-to-day of what is happening. Can you take us back to, when you were a kid, did you want to be a photographer, or
When
you
I-
fell into it?
When I was a kid, I used to take a lot of photos.
Wait, so when you were a kid, was this Kafilimi?
Yes,
Okay.
They're back in the day
Okay.
when they still had to take 2 weeks for you to get your photos back.
Oh, do you remember that feeling? For us, I think we were going to OK or something. And then
Yeah.
you would wait. Oh,
Yeah.
you drop off the film and then you're so excited to, oh man.
And then you just wait for them to develop the photos, and then you would always wear your Sunday best, right?
Yes.
Every single time they had to take photos of you, you knew today ke lo tlhapa. Not just hore ka tlhapa. I am extra clean.
And you must shine.
That's it. And they made sure that you got that extra Vaseline for the shine. But yeah, I think for me, that's where it came from, number one. But it's not something that I would say I knew back then, right? I think the bug hit me back then. But then as I grew older, I realized that I want to be in the art space. I wanted to always be in the art space. I wanted to be in entertainment no matter what happened. And then I thought I would get into entertainment as a producer or a director or an actor. At some point I wanted to be an actor. I even auditioned for the NSA twice and I
How
failed.
did I not know you wanted to be an actor?
I failed my audition at the NSA twice.
What?
And then, yeah.
What
it was
did
a
you
sad
audition
time.
to? Like a monologue?
Yeah, it was 2 monologues. I can't even remember which ones they were because I had to audition in grade 8 and 9. Those were
Yes.
the cut-offs.
Yes.
And I didn't make it for both. And then, you know what? I said, I'll go to film school. I will still be famous.
Yes.
No matter what happens.
Wow.
I'm going to be well known at any given point in my life. And then photography became what I got known for because I started photography when I was in second year at AVDA. And that kind of literally took over my life because when I started photography, my whole aim was not even to be famous. It was to hang out with the famous people. Firstly.
Oh.
Yes,
So
because-
in a strategy.
That's it. Because if you have a camera, you can get into any party.
Yeah.
Like, you need to know.
And now that
Come
you
on.
mention,
You can. It
you
doesn't
just,
matter.
I'm
I'm shooting.
I'm
and
shooting.
then you just walk in and then nobody bothers you. And then I started shooting famous people, well-known people. And then it just literally opened the door for me to fall in love with photography and really build a career out of it.
At what point, because you speak about having trained at AFDA, I know of videographers and photographers who are trained in cinematic.
Arts.
Yeah. And I can see the difference. And I know you say this quite often when people are like, what camera are you using? So I want us to talk a bit about the training aspect of it.
Yes, ma'am. I think, you know what? It's very important to have the basic knowledge and understanding of whatever that you want to do. A lot of people think, oh, I can just grab a camera and then I learn on the go. Yeah, that's great. You're going to spend 3, 4 months just learning how to use a camera. But when I went to film school, I did not understand a single thing. I knew how to take photos, I knew angles, but I didn't know what the exposure triangle was, how it worked,
Mm.
and how it contributes to the pictures that you take. And the more I learned about it, you learn the theory of how someone made a film and why they made certain choices. And that also influences the choices you make further going on in your own life and in your own
Mm.
practicals. And you just apply it in your own situations. And I feel like understanding the basics is very important, especially when you get the formal training, because someone is telling you this is why you do A, B, C, D, and these are the results of it, right? And a lot of people feel like, it's a waste of time. I also at some point felt like it was a waste of time. I'm like, just give us a camera. Like, I know how to take photos.
Yes.
But then when you learn about it, it helps you understand how to make better decisions for later in your life or for whatever situation that you end up in, because situations are not the same. There are moments where you've got the light and it's amazing. And then sometimes you've got less light. How do you deal with that?
Mm.
How do you counter the fact that if you pull your shutter speed too low, you're going to have blurry photos? You're going to have movement or blur in those images. So you need to actually have the training to be like, okay, cool. If I'm working in a space that is too dark, what can I do instead of, pushing my shutter down too low where I have motion blur? What can I do? Can I make the motion blur part of the photo that I'm taking and use that to be like, I'm now creating a more cinematic image compared to just creating a normal image. Now I can make it look like the person is in motion and they're running, even though they weren't. So
Yes.
you use that to, amplify your reasoning, but also to apply the practicals of what you learn in those spaces. And I feel like it's essential for all of us to have their basic, like when I say the very basic, is how does something work and why do you use it this way?
Mm.
Because then the rest of it is up to your own discretion and what you want to do.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue on the upside of failure with Austin Malema.
702.
The upside of failure.
20 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue on the upside of failure with celebrated South African photographer and creative entrepreneur, Mr. Austin Malema. We take your calls with your questions and comments, 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We were chatting about training earlier. How do you feel about the many self-taught photographers that have flooded the market? Because I know there are the purists
Yes.
and the traditionalists, and then we've got those that are not. And
Yeah.
this, also applies in the world of music. The individuals who literally went to study classical, study jazz. The guest we had earlier went abroad to study songwriting. And then you get those who they have a natural eye. So tell me what your thoughts are, because I'm sure there are pros and cons to the situations.
I think there are pros and cons to all of it. I have no issue with anybody coming into the industry and learning how the industry works in their own way. And I believe that those people learn faster than the people who go to a school, because when you go to a school, you're kind of shielded and you get taught how things work. And when you are experiencing it yourself, you actually see it firsthand on how it turns out, right? So I believe that those people are very lucky and they get to also save themselves money, because going to the schools, it's not very cheap, right? But then they learn the practicals firsthand on the application itself and what they need to do, which is really amazing. But I also believe that it's also great to go to a place where there is going to be a guidance for you to learn certain
Mm-hmm.
things, because you may avoid certain pitfalls. Like I feel like in music, you understand how to write music better when someone, when you've studied how the greats do it. And sometimes for you to study how the greats do it, you need access to that music and then the knowledge of how they do it and why they did it a certain way that they did it. And you can't just walk into a room and say, okay, cool, now I know how to write music and I'm going to write my own music. Yes, you can read it, but do you know how to like extend the note? Do you know what it means to play a certain note in a certain way and what it means to the emotion? Because there are certain
Mm.
things that people don't learn about the choices that we make. It influences how you see things, how you feel about certain things. So it's not just about doing it to make a picture. Yes, you make a picture, but you want to influence how the person who sees that picture feels or what they think about when they see that picture.
Mm. And I think the other thing is there is the version where a person is trained, but they will never have that X factor that is
True.
missing.
Yes.
And I look at some of the really brilliant photographers. I'll use Nick Bolton
Yes.
as an example, who has been in the game
For years.
as long as you've been alive, if not more.
True.
And having been photographed by someone like him and yourself,
Yes.
I am able, and I can't tell what it is, Ne, but let me speak about it from the subject's point of view.
Yes.
Outside of having the good eye, you also have to have good energy,
Yes.
because your subject needs to be able to follow your direction.
And also be comfortable in the moment.
Yes. I mean, I probably shouldn't be telling people, but hey, I mean, Nick Bolton has shot me topless.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's the pictures are not anywhere.
Yes.
If you think you're going to go look, you will not find them. But the reason I'm sharing this is to show that, like, for you to be so vulnerable on camera in front of a person, to do that, the trust that is required, that what you are seeing and what I am doing with my body is translating.
Yes.
And you need to also convince the subject to contort their body in ways that feel unnatural, but on camera,
It reads as something artistic.
yes.
And-
So, yeah, maybe share with me your thoughts on that.
I think there's a very big thing, and number one, it stems from professionalism and being a professional first before anything else, because what you do, you're doing this for the return for the client and also for yourself. You're not doing this just to see someone take their top off or in a certain way.
Yes.
And you need to consider that. And I feel like you also learn part of that just by being an individual, but also going to a place that teaches you how to approach certain things professionally. And then there's also the comfortability that you build with your subject, because speaking to people, getting to know why they do certain things, it helps you create better and create better results for the vision that they had for themselves. Because if you want to come and you want to do a topless shoot, like, I'm not doing it for, yes, you're just going to be topless. I
Yes.
need to understand what you're trying to get out of it.
Mm.
Are you making it as an art? Are you making it as a tease? Are you making it? There's multiple things you need to consider before you just go in and you say, yeah, I'm going to go take a picture of someone with their top off. You need to consider how you're also going to communicate with that person when you are there with them, because now you're going to say something and it makes them uncomfortable. Now you've changed their entire perception into going into that shoot. So there's so many little things and nuances that you need to consider when you get into the space about what the results you're trying to create are and how to communicate it in a way that it still keeps you as a professional and you do not scare the people that you're working with as well. I feel like that's a big thing. And the more you work and the more you understand the reasons for people doing things, and the easier it is for you to communicate with people so that you're able to say, hey, let's chat about your vision first. Let's have a 10-minute conversation about what you want to do, and then we can get into the shoot. Because once you get to know a person, I do this with some of the shoots that I do, depending on if a person is feeling nervous or, they're not certain about what we're doing, we'll speak about the vision. We'll get to know each other, right? And then we find a place where they're comfortable, because when you speak to humans, don't forget, I'm comfortable behind a camera. The next person might not be comfortable in front of a camera, and they're doing it as a professional thing. And they already think, I just want to take 2 pictures and I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. And in their mind, they're already closed off. Right. My job is to convince them that we are going to have a great time when we take these photos, and I'm going to get to know you better. And once you get to know someone better, they open up. When they open up, it's easier for you to now direct them and share your vision of what the photos could look like mixed with theirs as well.
There are so many different types of photography, and I think the older I've gotten, being a good photographer does not equate you can do all types of
True.
photography, right? So
That's
you've
true.
got your nature.
Yes.
Big ups to the bridal photographers. Like,
Yeah,
yo,
no.
the wedding photographers, you guys are doing the most, right?
Right now, yeah.
And then you've got those that are like portrait studio. That's their thing.
Yes.
What is the photography you think you are the worst at? that you would just
Ooh.
so bad that you wouldn't even accept the job?
I would not do boudoir photography.
What?
I would never.
Why?
I think it requires someone with an understanding of sensuality, and that's a very big thing.
So how sensual?
I don't think I understand the approach to it because it's such a tactful thing that one wrong position could move from boudoir to an adult
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. There you
Yes,
go.
I
So
got
and
you.
I don't want to do that because yes, it's very tactful. And one little thing can change the entire picture.
Yes.
And I don't want to put myself in that position. I think people who do it really well. And they
Yeah.
make it look so good. And you just sit there and you're like, you know what? You're good at that. And good for you. Kudos.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna say wedding.
No, weddings I love. I love weddings because I think I'm very good at capturing moments. So weddings become a place for me to play.
Yes.
Because I wait for the moment. I always say, like for me, shooting moments is the best thing ever because I can wait, and then capture the moment as it happens. And weddings have so many different aspects. You've got people sitting there smiling, the cousin, the little nudge here and there, the tear. Those are the things I'm looking at.
Yes.
Those are the things I enjoy. I'll sit there and I will wait for someone to smile for a minute because someone just cracked a joke and I just want to get that little moment and
Yes.
shoot between people. So those things I really enjoy. But weddings are fun. Like literally, maybe not the tedious moments of trying to shoot the bride and the groom when they're late.
Yes.
And now you must make, the official pictures in 10 minutes because they all ran about 2 hours late. The guests were on time, but someone ran a bit late. So that's the one part that I don't enjoy.
Do you funeral photography?
No, I'll never do that.
So
I would
have
never.
have you never done a funeral gig?
No, I've never.
Like taking the widow crying?
I just don't think I can expose people to that.
Mm.
I just don't. I don't find myself. It's almost like poverty porn in a way because you're almost exploiting the moment
Mm.
because it's right there. It's someone crying. What more can you do? You can't find anything else. It's sadness. It's sorrow. Like I've had people try to book me during COVID. A couple of people tried to call me to book me for streams and all of this stuff. And I was like, look, guys. There might not be work here, but I don't think I can really exploit that. Like, it's not a thing that I am comfortable to do. I'm comfortable to do the happy things, but I don't think I can sit there, watch someone cry, and then I'm like, yeah, got the shot. I would rather do that on a set where it's
Yes.
for a different purpose
I
because
got you.
that's etched in your memory. You're also etching it in theirs. Because you're gonna share those photos after, and they're vulnerable at that moment. No ways.
It's 2:30. When we come back, I'm going to ask Austin if he do a certain type of photography I did not mention. And we continue with the Upside of Failure.
702.
The upside of failure.
Clock. We continue the Upside of Failure with Austin Malema, who is in shock. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. Why are you laughing, Austin?
It's because I'm watching this interaction was a lot.
We have fun here. And we
Definitely.
genuinely are all like friends with each other.
I love it. You can tell the energy is real. It's not awkward.
So there's another photography that I think you would never do. I discovered it recently, and it is for parents whose babies are born sleeping. That's the term that they use. And they specialize specifically in coming in where you have a stillborn, and they dress the baby up so that you can have a family photo and pictures of the baby to remember the baby by. I feel like you'd never do that. And I also think you'd never do newborn photography.
Newborn, I would never do the first one, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Your heart wouldn't be able to.
I don't think, as a parent, I don't think I would survive. Hey,
Yeah.
I don't think I would survive. Newborn photography, I think, is something I could do if I put myself or applied myself to.
Yes.
I think I could do. And there's a lot of money in that, actually. Like,
I know what
literally.
you're saying.
And then you also make the baby's contour into weird positions.
Yes.
They say that when photographers do that, they tell the parents to leave the room because
Yes.
most parents think that you're going to break their baby.
Yes.
Because then you need to, make them look like contortionists.
Yes.
So I'm like, that I could definitely do. I just need to apply myself for a full year of learning. I can definitely do that.
No, but you know what they're also good at?
Yes.
Is they actually get the baby to fall asleep.
Yes.
And then put them in the position and then like respect to those photographers. There's a question that came here which says, Lebo, good afternoon to you and your team, and your guest in studio. What does he think of analog for geography, and what does he also think about documentary photography? Has he done any exhibitions?
Oh, wow. That's 3 questions all in one.
Yes. So the first one, what do you think of analog for geography?
I think analog is great. Also, just in general, like for me, I still believe that analog photography is still great in different spaces, whether it's for geography or, for lifestyle, because there's a lot of guys who still shoot analog photography. So I think, it's not really dead, but there aren't as many people who are looking at it today because we're all looking at a quick return on what is it? What do we call it?
Investment, ROI.
No, not even ROI. But again, when you see the results instantly, school has gone
Oh,
away.
I know
Instant gratification.
Yes, instant
That's the
gratification,
word.
yes.
Yes. So I think that's the one thing that has really taken away the fun in the work. But I really think analog photography is still an amazing art that people still practice and they still enjoy. And then what was the second and third
The second question was, what do you think about documentary photography?
I think documentary photography is a powerful medium when it comes to photography, and a lot of people don't look at it as it should be and respected. But it's also because, photography has just become so digital today that you can see something that's amazing in the documentary space and then it's replaced by something tomorrow that you can't really, consume the work for what it's meant to do in terms of evoking emotions and making you move and feel a certain way. And I feel like we are getting more and more further away from feeling things because we're getting desensitized in terms of what we see on our devices. And I think what documentary photography did was told stories and made you feel and connect with specific ideas and specific struggles or specific things that were happening in the world. And now we're so desensitized to what's happening when you look at, I open Instagram, you're seeing children in Gaza every day. And it's, at some point we will just see that as everyday news, right? And it won't matter as much. But if someone had done a documentary on that entire process and they took you through what had happened, you got to understand, what happened to these kids. And today you're seeing it live jive on your phone and it kind of takes away from, that entire experience. So I feel like documentary photography is something that's important. And I feel like, in the next coming years, it's going to be more important when we start, getting away from these devices, I'm hoping,
Yeah.
where things to remind people of what has happened. It captures moments in history that people would have otherwise forgotten. But I feel like, in today's world, we are slowly walking away from those things, which is not great.
And I mean, I was saying to somebody how the reason our generation is so nostalgic is because we have our photographs of us growing up are like pretty much non-existent. You're lucky if you have photographs of the different stages of your childhood and upbringing. And I feel like for us, our generation, we have a different love of pictures to the new generation because all they know are pictures.
Yeah, that's
and
very true.
they don't hold them dear. Like the fact that you can find that picture of your great-grandparents in black and white and they had those weird straight faces because for some reason they never smiled. Like I remember looking at my grandparents' wedding day photo. I'm like, was it a miserable day?
Yeah, true.
There was like a
True.
certain style, and then we had that drum magazine era. And
Yes.
I absolutely love that for us. But you are right, we're becoming so desensitized. And I think we are, read what my top says.
Overstimulated. That's
We
very
are.
true. We are.
We are so overstimulated to the point that it dilutes the good stuff.
Yes, it does.
The photographs that you could stand and stare at for hours and just get lost in. Am I making sense?
You are making sense. And it's also just the world that we're in. I feel like the world has taken into this world of content that we now need to see what everybody's doing. that it's not worth it anymore. Like, even in photography, like I will do a beautiful photo shoot tomorrow and then I'm over it as well because I'm now thinking of the next thing. But 3, 4 years ago, that was the only thing that I ever held on to for 2, 3 months, But now I feel like there's so much happening in and around us that we are seeing new things. I always complain about event photography, where we do an event today and then tomorrow they've forgotten about it. But there was a point where, influencer photography and doing content for brands meant that if you did it today, it's going to be posted in the next week. It will last them a month. People will be
Mm.
talking about it. But in today's world, you go to an event today, you're going to 6 other events tomorrow. Which one do
And
you
not
really
just
remember?
that. I mean, the last event that you and I were at together, you did photographs. I'm sure by midnight the pictures were
We're already
ready
out.
because everybody needed to post, if not that night, the next day. And then we've moved on to the next thing. We need to take a break in a moment. But before we take a break, knowing what you know and where you are at this stage in your career, you're also a business person. You have staff now, so it's not just about the art. It's like overheads and,
Yes.
oh my gosh, now there's a new camera we need to update to or maintenance. What does failure look like to you today compared to when you were a kid? Other than I want to be famous, which you are, not in the way you thought. But what does failure in relation to back then look like to you?
Oh my God, I think today failure to me looks very, very different. I think there are two big moments that I can highlight for you where I feel like I had failed, where I walked away from a business with two business partners. And that was purely because of, the business was doing really well. Like, most people walk away when the business aren't doing well, but the business was doing really well. But just the understanding from the business partners, and it's because I got into it very young and things were not done correctly. I didn't do my due diligence. I don't think any of us did our due diligence. We
Mm.
just walked into it and then we got into the business, right? And when things fell out, I had to walk away and it felt like a very like big part of my life where I feel like I failed and I failed myself.
Mm.
And then the second part was earlier this year, we did a very big job where, I've got a team that does most of the work in house. And I felt like I needed something that's very different. And I approached someone else to do the job externally. And I feel like in that, I failed because I did not, trust in my own team enough to have them do the work. But then, the work also was not delivered in the way that I thought it would be, which was really sad for me because if I had just gone with my internal team, I still would have had a great result and a result that I am proud of. And when I gave it to someone else, I never got the work delivered. I got
Eish.
I got excuses. Eventually, my team had to step in, and imagine now I skipped them to give the job
Eish.
to someone outside to do, and then now I have to go back to the team and be like, guys, this
Please
person
come
is not
fix it.
yes, come fix
Eish.
it. And it just shows you that, sometimes we just don't value what we have in front of us as much as we should because we look outside
Mm.
and we think that it's more appetizing.
We need to take a break. When we come back, we continue with the upside of failure.
702.
The upside of failure.
7 minutes to 3 o'clock. We're wrapping up our conversation with Mr. Austin Malema on the upside of a failure. And we take your calls 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Have you ever photographed Julius Malema, your cousin?
I have.
You have?
I have photographed Julius.
Is he your cousin?
He's not my cousin. I don't know how we related. I think that's something that I actually have to speak to him about. But
You
we
should.
are can related. I don't know how. I know my mom got invited to one of his parties, so I think
Yes.
that's the
Olimbobo.
thing.
Kwa
There
gae.
was a big party that happened, and they were invited. I'm like, why was I not invited? Like, what's the point?
In terms of, I mean, we spoke about your recent projects and failure. When you look at your life, you're going to be heading towards 40. What do you think that next chapter looks like, and what would failure represent to you in that next chapter of where you want to go and grow as a person?
Failure would represent me not paying it forward. I think that's the
Mm.
simplest thing. I think we get into positions of privilege that we forget what it took for us to get there. So you always need to leave the door open for the next generation of people coming. And I think that I've done that pretty well with my business, and also other people that I am in conversation with who are in the industry, who, ask questions, who I help, in terms of the businesses that they're bringing or building. So I sort of, feel like that has been my part to play, because when I got into where I am, someone allowed for me to get there. So I need to do the same for the next generation. And that would be failure for me if I fail to do that.
I think that is so beautifully said. Where are the women in photography?
That is a really great question. I feel like there is a very low representation of women in photography, especially in entertainment, to be honest. I think there's a very big opportunity for women to get into the space, because the representation is always male. And I feel like we all fail to, bring the ladder down, either find the right people. I feel like I've done that before with 2 people only. And those are the people who were willing to come in and say, listen, this is what I want to do.
I'm going to
And
give
I'm
you
able
your
to-
first student.
You can definitely do that.
Your
I'm
first
happy.
student is our photographer, Disetso, who's in the booth right
She already
now.
has a job.
No,
That's the
she has a
problem.
job, but everybody needs upskilling, right? Disetso can't hear me. I know she's busy watching the cameras in there, but I'm committing her to 2 lessons with you.
I can definitely
and
do
to
that.
all the lady photographers or budding photographers, DM this man.
No, they must DM RTC Studios.
Yes,
not me.
RTC sorry, his personal DMs are for other requests, but the RTC.
No.
Final question.
Yes, ma'am.
How has being a dad changed your photography?
Oh my God. I now take pictures on my phone, like real pictures, and I take dad photos. Like, I now treasure moments a lot more. And I'll be going to my son's concert or like school day, and I will take dad photos. I've got the cameras. I leave those things at home. I want to feel like a normal person when I am
Yes.
out and about with my kids. So now I treasure moments a lot more. Even with my daughter, like, I will be out and about, and I'm just like, oh, here's a little cute moment. And then she'll also ask me, Daddy, please take a photo. And then
Yes.
now, it's made me treasure moments a lot. I treasured moments for a different reason,
Yes.
because it was a job, and I could excel in that and show how I see things. But now in my personal family, I do it differently, because I don't have to be a professional anymore. I can just be.
I love you to bits. I love your work. Keep soaring.
Thank you.
Monako Venda.
Ke a leboha. Thank you for having me. Noribo.
Spend your afternoon
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.